friends in there are in a really, really scary position. They're being held on trumped up charges. They're being overcharged in ethical state use to try to scare people and try to get them to admit to stuff that they didn't do and accuse people they didn't do. So this is just one more tactic the state is using to try to intimidate people and deter people to harm. It's pretty clear that they're doing this because they see our movement against capitalism, against the state, against the G20 as a real threat. They wouldn't have been out there with tear gas and rubber bullets and that damn long-range acoustic device or whatever it is if they didn't see us as a real threat. So it was really important, all the organizing we did yesterday, the day before, and the 3 months before that. And we're going to have a lot of organizing going forward to make sure that all our friends get out of jail, and make sure all our friends stay out of jail, and we can hold the people who put them in there, who tear gassed everybody and beat the shit out of our friends accountable. I think that we should all be really proud of the mobilization that we're putting on. I think that it was absolutely inspiring to hear the students just kind of rolling out of their dorms last night without having to come to meetings, without having to come to organizing. You know, they know that they don't have a future. They know that we don't have a future after college. They know that they're not going to get a job after college, and they're pissed off. And they came out in the streets and they showed it. And that's one of the reasons why we're having such a hard time tracking the people who are in jail. A lot of the people who are in jail, we've never met before. They're not part of our networks. They're not part of our system. Their friends don't know to call 412-444-3553 if they get arrested. Now we're even hearing that tonight there's another march, both in opposition to the police brutality and the jailing of our friends, and the policies of the G20 and the neoliberal policies that are screwing up our city. There are a few people out here who wanted to make statements of support and solidarity. Jeff, do you want to go?
So, one thing I just want to say is...
Who are you?
I'm Jeff. One thing I want to say is, I think we often get caught in talking about, oh, well, are they guilty? Are they innocent? Did they do something wrong? And I think in the world we live in right now, to talk about the guilt or innocence of people protesting the policies of bankers and politicians who are assuredly guilty and will never go to trial and never face any justice for the crimes they committed. First, I don't care what guilt or innocent of trying to break these lines or protect these people. I think we should support all of them regardless of their charges or whatever, because until I see the people who are responsible for the greatest crimes in our society facing consequences and accountability for what they've done, I don't give a damn about any of this system that we see in front of us today. So I hope to see all of you out here. I'll be out here next, until they're out.
I'm not sure if folks saw the communique the G20 put out at the end of the day yesterday, but I've been busy doing a lot of jail solidarity work, so I didn't get to read it really closely. But on the first page, they said there's this kind of whereas section. And basically, they said whereas we'll put $1.1 trillion into the system to prop up the economies and add liquidity in the markets, it worked. They actually declared that their bailout policy worked in fixing capitalism and in fixing the economic crisis that's going on. We still have real unemployment in this area right here, reaching 17 or 18%. People have already dropped out of the labor force. So they're declaring victory. They're declaring that their system, that their economic system and their solutions worked. And I think that we saw yesterday and the day before in the streets that the vast majority of people here in Pittsburgh are pretty clear that their system does not work. It's a failure. There's somebody from Ballot people here. We've had some differences with Ballot people in terms terms of organizing style, but they came out today to show support. So one of the brothers wants to give a statement of solidarity.
I'm from North Carolina. Organizing about people moving up on the hill all week. And we stand in complete solidarity with any form of resistance to global capitalism. We know that if we chose to organize one type of model, bringing unemployed people, oppressive from all over the country, to protest the destruction of jobs. As the brother said, unemployment rate, particularly in Pittsburgh and other urban areas, is very depressing. But we want to be very clear that, just like Dr. Beck said, like we do what we did, ourselves, and folks that got arrested, and folks who were in the streets, no matter what tactic they chose, representing people in the world who didn't have a voice, whether inside the meeting or outside, couldn't be here today. They had to work because they were under trying to find housing, trying to get utilities stuff back on. And so they're going to go. Kids after solidarity with all of these next coming days, there's a call. We're going to work with people here at National Hall, with grassroots groups and trade unions, student groups, and unemployed workers and people fight for a moratorium on foreclosures and evictions. We want to work with y'all as much as possible on putting out a national call to demand all the charges be dropped. And if y'all, we want to follow y'all's lead in terms of where the pressure should go, what that call should look like. But we absolutely, condemn the police violence because we know that any of the violence that happened, whether it's the police cracking, students in the head, whether it's chasing them to the dorms, whether it's, tear gassing people, trapping them in the stairways and gassing people, or whatever, other forms of violence that are created by the G20 in terms of homelessness and unemployment and repression of people and oppression around the world. We know that people here had a just cause to fight up and to stand up for the people around the world who are suffering from this global capitalist financial economic crisis that has different effects everywhere. But we stand in complete solidarity and keep fighting the power, and we're here all the way. So,
My name is Pierce. 3 days ago, I thought police brutality were isolated incidents. On Thursday and Friday, I saw my friends, anarchists, preppy people, hit students, got beat up, got gassed, got assaulted. The way they looked, the way they were standing, and I didn't see all that because I was at a party. So 1 o'clock morning last night, I said, I don't know, maybe this police brutality still isn't really there. So I went to West Penitentiary at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I saw the first 4 kids who got released out there. They were like freshmen. They'd never been arrested before. They were just white people. Not gender specific. They were just typical college students like you see all around. They weren't protesting. They were just standing out in front of their dormitories. If you can't stand out in front of your dormitories on Friday night, then what the fuck is a police state if not that? And I'd like to thank the legal team and medics for also helping people that got released in West Penn for sitting out in the rain. So props to them, and they also came and relieved me. So, and thanks to G20RP. Yeah, I did that right. Okay, yeah. Patrick, you rock. One thing that Pierce pointed out is what we saw yesterday and the day before was some pretty gratuitous police brutality. We saw police out in the streets in Oakland. We saw them in North Oakland, in Bloomfield, in Morrisville, and Shadyside, chasing around our friends. Chasing around organizers and activists, and also people came out of nowhere. But we need to remember not to just think of police brutality as anarchists have a protest, radicals have a protest, and police beat them up. Police brutality is something that's real, It's something that happens every day in the Hill District. It's something that happens every day in Garfield. It's something that happens every day in East Liberty. It's something that happens every day in so many of our communities around town. So while we stand in solidarity with our friends, while we're impacted, who are in jail, we absolutely need to do that. And that's community support. That's a key part of our